And we are live. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today on this Sunday Memorial Weekend? Today we have a really awesome live going to happen today. I'm about to bring him in. You guys probably know of his channel. If you're a part of my channel, you know Robert Alaniz's channel. He has a great channel, Collecting the King Show. And if for some reason you're not part of his channel, you need to go subscribe and like his videos and all that good stuff and follow him because he's amazing. But I'm about to bring him in 2 seconds. We already have some people in here already. We got Mal. How you doing? Elvin, what's going on? How are you? So let me just cut to the chase and bring Robert in right now. So let's see. And there he is. And here he is, Robert Alaniz from the Collecting the King Show. How you doing, Robert?
Good, Johnny. How are you?
Doing good. Can't complain. Yeah, so very happy to have you on here. This is my first time doing this, so I'm a little nervous doing a collaboration. So, but yeah, we already have a few people in here. We got Elvin, we got Mal. Can you see your comments?
I'm looking to see. Now, what do I click on the comments here?
Yeah, it should be a little section.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, I see him.
Okay.
I see. I got. There's Mal.
Yep.
And Elvin.
And that's the other guy right there. That's Kurt. I don't know if you can see the whole. This usually when I did this, when I was a guest on someone else's channel, I couldn't see the whole screen name. But this other guy, his name is Kurt.
Okay.
I talk to him pretty oftenly. He's on Mark's channel a lot too.
Okay.
But yeah, but before we get started answering people's questions, I guess we figured we can do something like basically our origin story on how both of us started getting into Elvis. So, Robert, since you're my guest, I'll let you go first.
Oh, you don't want me to go first?
Go ahead.
My origin story goes way too far back. We could be here for hours, man.
No, I mean, you're good.
Well, if people watch my show, they already kind of know how it all started with me. It all started, I guess you have to divide up into two things for me because I was an Elvis fan first. So when I was buying Elvis records and everything, there was no collecting. Yeah. Collecting wasn't even nobody even thought about, oh, gee, I'm going to collect this and I'm not going to take the shrink wrap off of that because that sticker is going to be worth a lot of money someday. I didn't even think like that. It was just a simple matter of I just loved Elvis. I loved the music, and I would buy one album after the other. And as I mentioned to you before, I started. Elvis was a movie star to me. That's how I started. I never knew he was the king of rock and roll. I just knew he was a cool guy. And the first thing I ever saw him in was Roustabout, of course, which is why that's my favorite album and favorite movie. Well, not really exactly my favorite movie, but it was the first movie I ever saw. And I don't know. I just followed Elvis's career as a fan, and then I would buy records and 45s, and I collected lobby cards, and I would go to movie theaters and ask them if I could have the poster after the movie was over, and things like that. So time went by, and but none of that stuff I ever kept. I just kind of got that stuff, and pinned it up on my wall, or whatever. I used to drive my mother crazy because she'd walk in my bedroom and it's filled with Elvis stuff all over the walls, and I don't know, maybe she thought I was a little weird because I was so obsessed with him. But then came puberty and girls, and when that happened, all of a sudden it was more important for me to get a car and do other things like that. Everything a teenager does. So Elvis kind of took a back seat, but I still bought all his albums. I bought into the 70s. I bought Elvis Now and Elvis Today and everything. And just never collected. I just bought the records or the cassettes and played them and listened to all the music, memorized the words to all the songs, that kind of thing. And that wasn't until I think probably around 1980, after Elvis died, and I've told this story on my show before, that I bought Paul Lichter's book, The Boy Who Dared to Rock. And that book had a complete catalog of all of Elvis's records. And I'd never seen nothing like that before. So I, got that. And thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start buying these, but I wasn't interested in the originals. I just kind of bought whatever was out at the time. And of course, there were lots of stuff out because after Elvis died, RCA went into this mass production of the records. And so I got everything. And I'll tell you a funny story, kind of a personal one. But after I started collecting again, or started collecting, period, I was buying all these reissues, right? So I had this rack similar to this where I had all my Elvis records. And I was married once before my wife, Carol. I was married to another woman before her. And me and her never really got along, And one night I stayed out too late and she got really pissed off. And I remember coming home and I walked in the door and all my Elvis records were on the floor, trashed.
Oh,
she had taken all the records off the shelf and smashed them with a hammer and stepped on them and grinded them, and the covers were ripped and everything. I just about killed her.
Oh my gosh.
So actually that was a little bit of a deterrent for me collecting, because after a while I thought, well, God, I better make sure I marry an Elvis fan. Because if I piss her off, at least I know she won't destroy my collection,
Oh my God.
But yeah, so it was then after that, and I got divorced from her. I met my wife, Carol, who is a lot of people know she's the camera person. You met her a little while ago, Johnny.
Yeah.
And fortunately, she wasn't an Elvis fan, but she certainly wasn't going to destroy my records or anything like that, because she loved records too, and she collects Paul McCartney, and she's a huge Paul McCartney collector. And we got along well. So then I went ahead and I went back into buying, or I started collecting again. But this time I passed on the reissues and I went for originals. And I'll never forget, and this will be my final thing I say about my origin. I'll never forget the first time when I decided I was going to go back into collecting again. I think it was right after Carol and I got married. It was probably about 1984. And I went to a record show. It was probably the very first record show I ever went to. And there was a guy had a Roustabout album, and it was not a silver stereo original, but it was still in the shrink and it was mint. And the guy wanted $20 for it. And I swear that I'll never forget that day, because that was the hardest $20 for me to pull out of my pocket to spend on a record. I was used to paying $3 a record, $4 a record, when they first came out. But this guy wanted 20. And I thought, well, it's an original, although it wasn't the original. It was the second press, but I didn't really know that at that time. But I pulled out that $20 and handed it over, and it was a very painful experience. But that's what started it. Once I got that, then I had to just keep going.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, though. Yeah, times were different. It's like $20 was a lot. It's like, oh my gosh, $20 for a record.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
I see Rick from Greensboro.
Yeah,
how you doing, Rick?
Rick, we got Steve, TCB since 1973. That's Steve. Yeah, we got 16 people in here, though.
Oh, no kidding.
Marcus, how are you?
Okay, and
all the lives.
And there's Juan, who also likes to be. I think his name is Humberto. Is that right? And then
I think so.
Oh, look at Johnny B's here.
Oh, Johnny. Oh, look
at this.
One of your co-hosts.
What the hell is Johnny B doing here?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Johnny B.
Yep.
EP Fanatic. She's always in a lot of these too.
Yep. And of course, my wife has a sticker nose.
Carol. Darren.
Okay, so it's Juan, right? Yeah, because I kept calling him Super Atlantis because I didn't know what else to call him.
Yeah, but, I didn't know neither for a while.
His name is Humberto, if that's the correct way to say it. I should know that. I'm Hispanic. How come I don't know how to say Humberto? That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't keep up with everybody's names, man. It's just so many people. If I ever forget you guys' names, I apologize. I'm horrible with.
Yeah, I'm working on it too. I'm trying to learn them too. It's not easy because everybody has these aliases or names that they use for Facebook and everything. It's hard to distinguish them. Okay, see, Juan. That's it.
Yeah.
Juan. Okay.
Juan is good. There you go.
Juan is easy. So that's even better because he's easy to pronounce.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess I'll just tell my quick origin story.
Yeah,
mine's a little different, So back in 2002, I was about 30. I'm gonna do it like a summary. In 2002, I was 13, 14 years old. I was in 8th grade. 2002 was the 25th anniversary of Elvis's death. And it was just something simple as coming home from school one day, got off the bus, came in the house, sat down, started watching TV. I'm flipping through the channels. And at that time, did a lot of those movie marathons on TCM, Turner Classic Movies. And they were doing it for his death. So I remember because it was the beginning of the school year. And I just stopped on TCM. I saw this guy on the screen. Turns out the movie was Tickle Me, which is not one of my favorites now. But I knew who Elvis was. I already knew who he was, but like my parents or my grandparents never introduced me to him like that. So I really just found him on my own. And then I remember like getting a VHS tape, putting in the VCR. Like when you set the tape to a certain speed so it records a lot. I remember recording it throughout the night, all his movies, and then watching it the next day, and about a little bit less than a month later, man, 30 number one hits came out, and at that time, A Little Less Conversation, the remix was huge. That album was huge, and I remember not too long after that, for kids like Lilo and Stitch, the Elvis songs were in that movie. I mean, at that time, and people in my age group, they pulled a lot of Elvis fans in, a lot. But
and that was kind of like the second coming of Elvis's popularity in a way, later because throughout the years his career kind of petered out, and even RCA didn't know what to do with him. That's why we got all those terrible reissues in the 80s and everything. But the resurgent happened after that Nike commercial. Yeah, it did. With Little Less Conversation, which made Mac Davis incredibly happy.
Oh, I'm sure. It's been in so many things since then. Oh my God.
I mean, a lot of movies and TV shows in the background, it'll pop up. But so you came around that time then, right? That's when you kind of latched on to the train at that point, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was like a big resurgence of Elvis. I felt like that was, of course, besides, the Baz Luhrmann film, that was the last time they really brought in fans, I feel like, was in 2002. Oh, there's Mark from Mark's Elvis for Everyone channel.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
And Johnny B says to you, Johnny, that he was born in Gary.
I know I was a big Michael Jackson fan. I was born in Gary, Indiana in 1959. I lived there when he was a little boy like me. Wow. That's really interesting.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good old Gary, Indiana.
But yeah, so then also it kind of led into me collecting Elvis. But I mean, Elvis wasn't my first record I bought, but I just remember one day we were in an antique store with my parents, and I remember seeing the Thriller album. I knew that album, of course, and I was like, what's this? Because it was, 12 by 12 or whatever. And my dad's like, oh, those are records. I'm like, what's records? And he just explained it to me. And then that was it. But funny enough, I still have the first Elvis record I bought. I bought it off eBay in like 2003 or 4. I still have it. And it is...
It's so funny that you'd be born into it. I can't even imagine being born into a generation where you would even say, what is a record?
Yeah.
I mean, I was born into records. I mean, they were everywhere. That's wild.
But it was an original copy of Loving You.
Oh.
It's in good shape for its age, but it's not the best. But I have one that's in better shape. But I keep it for sentimental reasons. So.
Now, did you pay $20 or more for it or less?
I probably paid like no more than $20 for it.
But see, you didn't have a problem paying the $20. Did you cringe and not be able to sleep that night because you spent $20 on a record?
Well, I didn't really pay for it. My parents did.
Then no problem. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I was only 13, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the first. And after that, I just started collecting Elvis records, and here we are. And I have all this stuff. So
Did you immediately start going for like first pressings? I mean, being that you started in the 2000s, obviously collecting was in full swing at that point with all the price guides and books and everything. Because
yeah,
I think the first Princelviana came out in '78, and they were like I don't know, about 4 or 5 editions since then. Did you ever notice values or anything? Did you buy records, first pressings or anything like that based on values or rarity?
no, not necessarily. I like just like everything else. When you're around it long enough, you learn about it. I just learned along the way from different people. Watching different people, knowing different people about collecting records. It took time, and I got burned a couple of times with some bootleg stuff in the past that I thought was real or stuff that was a reproduction or stuff like that, like memorabilia wise and all that. But yeah, just in time, just like when you're around something, you just learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was still like 13 and everything, but
Yeah, it looks like Juan noticed my Roustabout album.
oh yeah,
I guess he can't see the up on the wall. Let me see if I do this. Then you can see the rest of the Roustabout stuff on the wall.
yeah, that's awesome.
Tons of Roustabout stuff. Got the original Roustabout record store poster from 1964 up there. I got the gold record of Roustabout, which was not of course, not a real one, but it was a reproduction. They sold it in Graceland. There's the half sheet, the original half sheets up there. And then there's a poster that Betty Harper, I don't know if anybody knows who Betty Harper, she's a popular Elvis artist for many, many years. She did that Roustabout poster, which is right next to the half sheet. I know it's kind of far
Okay.
away,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then I got, like I mentioned to you too, Johnny, I finally got a copy of the reel to reel, the Roustabout reel to reel, which
nice.
is right
Yeah,
there.
that's nice. I have a few reel to reels. I don't have that one. I only have like 6. There's a question from Mark right there.
Okay.
Robert, been meaning to ask you, do you have the original Elvis Gold Records Volume 3 LP inserts available?
You're talking about the book, I think. That's got to be what he's talking about, the book.
Probably.
Yeah. And obviously the first pressing of that had a poster in it. There were 2 of them. There was one with a poster, one without. I believe the one with the poster is the one that came with the record at the time.
I think I have that book too myself.
Yeah, and no, I don't, Mark. Unfortunately, I did have it not too long ago, but I sold it.
My first was only 3 years ago, Separate Ways, a Candom album, Marcus. So that was Marcus's first album, was a Separate Ways album. King Boss 08, my first album was Double Trouble. I just recently watched that movie for the first time in years. It was.
We started on that. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, bad spoof of Pink Panther.
Oh my God. I remember because I got the Blu-ray just recently. And I was so excited because I hadn't seen it in a long time. I watched like the first 15 or 20 minutes and I went, oh my God, this is so bad. The dialogue was terrible. And that day was terrible. And those goofy guys, the 3 Stooges guys that were, oh my God, it was terrible. I know why Elvis was frustrated by that point with the movies.
I mean, I always said in that movie, when he's singing Old MacDonald, he sounds frustrated. He's like, I always thought that every time I hear that song, like, when those chicks got out of line, I'm like, he sounds like he's mad.
So, Mark says, his first was Burning Love with hits from his movies on Camden. And that's funny because I was just talking to Johnny B, if Johnny B's still on here. He was telling me that when Burning Love came out, and he told me this just the other day, as a matter of fact, Mark. He said when Burning Love came out, he bought the 45 and he would buy it every time he went to the store. and then he would take the 45 out and he would pin all the 45 sleeves up on his wall.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? I don't even know. If you're there, John, how many 45s did you pin on your wall? How many sleeves? I don't know if he's still there or not, but he told me that the other day. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
But that song was such a big hit, though. I mean, it and the Camden album was a big hit too. I'm pretty sure it went gold not too long after it was released.
Yeah, I mean, that was his last.
It was his first gold Camden album, I think. First album, Camden album that went gold, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, that was like really his last big hit. I have a sealed copy of Burning Love, like on the card.
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I think it's in the other room though. There he is. Look, about 50 sleeves.
50 sleeves.
Jeez.
50, and he destroyed 50 sleeves.
Oh
That's why you can never find these things in good condition, especially if you bought them in Indiana because they all have pinholes in them.
My first was my dad's original On Stage, February 1970. Oh, that's Kurt. Yeah, me and Kurt talk a lot. Yeah, On Stage is his favorite album. I think it was like a sentimental thing for him because his father had that album. That's a good album. I remember listening to that album a lot. I remember when I started collecting, I started buying the CDs. I remember I had the 1999 version of On Stage. I listened to that like crazy when I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Just picked up, what did I say? Man, they're coming in fast a little bit. Just picked up a Mystery Train 45 promo from RCA for $1 in mint shape from Goodwill. What?
Unbelievable.
It happens. It happens.
I know. Yeah. And that's a real tough one to find too. Those white labels. I'm sure he's talking about the RCA one, white label promo. Oh my God, that thing is so tough to find. Even in VG shape, it's hard to find.
You don't see those. I actually have the white promo copy of That's All Right. But the only thing that sucks about it is on the run out, it's cracked. Like, I'm like, but it's in beautiful shape, but the run out was cracked. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about first albums? Yeah. What's your first album there, Michael? Couldn't believe I found it. All I find is Tom Jones and Will.
Tom Jones.
That or Barry Manilow.
Yeah, Barry Manilow is another one. Yeah.
My first album bought was G.I. Blues from Woolworths in Liverpool.
Did they have Woolworths in Liverpool? Really?
Wow.
You know what's funny, Mal, is the first the Roustabout that I bought, the very first Roustabout album I bought was Woolworths in Blue Island, Illinois. I didn't know they had Woolworths overseas.
Did you guys have Caldor stores?
The what?
Did you guys have the store Caldor in Chicago?
No.
No. Okay, that must have been like a Yankee thing.
Is that a 5 and dime?
It was kind of like a Kmart and a Walmart. Kind of like Kmart and Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a few albums that say Caldor. But so I just remember those stores when I was a kid because I remember when they went out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Sold records there. Johnny B, my first album was the NBC TV special from Montgomery Ward store. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I think that the NBC album is, I'm not gonna say it's super rare, but it's not easy to find to me. I don't see it a lot.
I just sold one. The one that's hard to find is, and this is debatable because, the more I talk about this on my show, the more I realize that, what I consider rare is not necessarily rare to everybody because a lot of this depends on where you live.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you live in LA and you got all your stuff from the Hollywood plant, then some of that stuff over there was more common. I live closer to Indianapolis. So I would get whatever Indianapolis stuff that came out, I would get it from there. So the 68 Comeback version that I find very hard to find is the Flex. The Rigid I find all the time. Like I said, I just sold one last Sunday in the shrink wrap. So the Rigids to me are not hard to find. I've had them many, many times. But I think I've had the flexible one only a few, maybe 2 or 3 times in I don't know, 40 years. So I don't know.
Yeah, I never see the flexible one, but I just in my area, I feel like I don't see that album really at all.
Mm-hmm.
I had mine for years, but Graham, what's going on, Graham? 3 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia. Holy crap!
Australia, wow.
Wow.
We're going worldwide here.
Yeah. My first album I bought was MSG. I was 8. Michael. You know, I feel like with MSG, the cover without the number 2 on the bottom, like just I guess the first run cover, that's not easy to find either. I feel like. Mm. I mean, correct me. Do you think so, or have you noticed that?
And I noticed Richard Chambers. Actually, he won the Potluck Sessions FTD vinyl. Isn't that the one that you were interested in, Johnny?
Oh, he's the one. Oh, yeah.
There he is. There's the culprit right there.
So it's
Richard Chambers,
okay.
And he says he loves it. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you do too.
Kind of glad. I just whether he knows it or not, you were kept eyeing it, right? And then you forgot when it was up.
About it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear my notification. I'm like, I need to get that because it don't come up often, and I missed it.
That's a tough one.
It is.
I got a few more tough ones coming up that I'm kind of waiting on putting up there, but I got a couple other tough ones.
I think the earliest one I have is from Elvis in Memphis. That's like 2014 or something. That's the earliest one I have. Especially with a good shape cover, because of black cover ringwear. Yeah, a lot of Elvis's covers, black covers, they can be hard to find. I mean, so ringwear is, especially the ones in the 70s, they're just ridiculous to find sometimes.
I think Mark's talking to you, Johnny.
Mark, let me see what we got. Don't you hate when that happens? Hell yeah. All the time, man. You're watching it the whole time too, and then like someone outbids you like in a few seconds.
Yep.
That happens too. That's when you gotta put a ridiculous.
It happens to everybody. I've done the same thing. Yeah. You just some people have lives. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I could describe it, because when you're busy and everything, it's hard to, unless you're always on YouTube or Facebook or eBay. I mean, obviously you're going to miss stuff. It doesn't, and I'm not insulting anybody who does that all the time. I didn't mean you don't have a life. So please don't send me nasty mails. I didn't mean that personally. The only person I know who doesn't have a life is Johnny B. Okay. He's the only one I know who doesn't have a life, and he knows it too.
Oh man. Well, as long as they know it, it's not offensive. All right, Graham says, what do you guys consider the best era of Elvis to collect in?
Well, Johnny, you can start with that.
I don't know, man. For me, I love finding original albums like from the 50s, because they're very hard to find, obviously. And when you find them, they're very exciting. Mm-hmm. And I know me and you talked about this, and I had a video of it when I found Elvis's first album for $10 from the original owner. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's cool to me. And I bought other stuff from her too. I wish I collected more memorabilia though too, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a favorite era. But I think a lot of it has to do with me. It has to do with the fact that, I started being a fan in '64. So I think my favorite stuff is from the 60s. I just love finding, mid 60s, whether it be 45s or EPs or whatever. But that's the period I like. And not for the money part of it, because I mean, that stuff obviously is the rarest stuff. Although, the prices that FTDs are going for now, I mean, people would rather pay $250 for an FTD, but they got to think twice about a mint copy of the 1382, for example, for $100.
Yeah.
Where's the logic in that? I don't get that. I mean, come on. I mean, that's something interesting to talk about too. I should do a whole show on that. Is the pricing of records, how things, over the years that I've been doing this, I've seen the scales go up and down and up and down so many times. And 1 minute something is incredibly rare. Next minute there's 1,000 out there. And of course, eBay changed everything, because there was a time when I was dealing records and collecting when there was no eBay. So the only thing you had, the only way you could get it is dealers like myself, Paul Lichter. There's a guy named Helmut Rauch, and the guys who did it mail order, or you would go to Memphis to the shows like we did for many years. And that was really the only way you could find rare stuff. As soon as eBay came along, boom, all of a sudden, there's 4 or 5 Speedway monos on eBay. Well, maybe not that many, but you know what I mean? They're more common. It's, a lot of the stuff that was rare. I remember the Fool album at one time was the rarest Elvis album in the world. I was getting $100 to $150 at one time because it was deleted. Same thing with the original Frankie and Johnny. Oh, that album was worth a fortune back in the 70s and 80s. Not anymore.
Yeah, but the Fool album never was repressed ever.
No, never was. It's still fairly, I guess, considered a rare album because there was only one pressing, but it's not hard to find.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Mark said I was betting on a first press of something for everyone. Well, he probably meant something for everybody. And Mint Shape, forgot about it, sold for $40. Wow. That's a good price for that. See, that's one of those albums. Some of those early 60 albums are not easy to find in good shape. Like, that's definitely one of them. I always see that one, Beat to Hell or Split, or I have fairly decent ones. But
you know what I liked from the 60s is when I started collecting in 64, RCA started all of their albums were in shrink wrap. Prior to that, and I've said this on my show many times, they were in baggies. And the baggies came from stores like Sears and Woolworths and, different places, or just generic plastic bags. And I love going and finding an original pressing of something in a store baggie. I don't know why, but that's just really cool to me to find something that came originally, because that usually the record is stone mint inside the cover, because the baggies actually protected the records better than the shrink wrap did. And I just love it when I find anything in an original baggie.
Yeah, I have a few like that. That first album I have of Elvis, that was in the original baggie all those years.
Yeah. Okay, now I can reach in here, Johnny. I told you I wanted to do this so I could reach and grab something. Here is
what you got.
Speaking of a baggie, let's see. I found. Is this one? No, this is the reissue. Okay. Here we go. Now, see, this is, got to get the shine out of there. Kissing Cousins, right? Okay. Now, if I got to take it out of here because this is the photo. And of course, there's so much debate about this photo. Like, when did it come out? Where? I know where it came out because I bought it in the movie theater. Or no, I got it in a movie theater with a free box of popcorn, or free with a box of popcorn. But anyway, here is Kissing Cousins in a baggie. And I remember getting this, and I thought, "Wow, this thing is so cool." If you'll notice, it has
very nice. Yeah.
It has the price, or it says stereo, which is cool. But this is a bag, and then down below there it says, I don't know if that's the name of where it came from, Bay Music Center. Yeah, I guess so. Bay Music Center.
Was that sounds like somewhere out of California or something?
Yeah. Actually, it says Wisconsin.
Oh,
yeah, it says Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, is what it says.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's the baggie, and here is a little spot where they would either take a marker and write with a pen, write the price up there, or put a sticker there or whatever. The only thing I don't like is when they take the staple gun.
Yeah,
in the old days they would just staple the price tag in there, but that's a good example of that. And of course, this is got the original turquoise sleeve, and of course, it's a silver stereo. Oh, let me see. I've never done this, folks, so it's a little crooked. There
That's
we go.
good. Yeah.
Silver stereo.
Nice.
But that's what I like. I like finding this. Now, unfortunately, I never found a roustabout, the original, in a baggie, and that's how the first roustabouts came. They came in a baggie just like this, and but I never found one like that. Maybe someday I will.
Yeah, I have. Where is it at? Here it is. I found this a while ago. I think I found it for like $10 in the baggie. It's the. It happened at the World's Fair. Beautiful, and it's cool because
is it in the baggie?
Yeah, let me take it out. So, the original bag on it. This is from Brown to Sales Co. And the cool thing is it has like the price, but then it says $463. So I guess this album was stocked on April of 1963.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool. But yeah, and I have the sleeve on the inside. But
and that's the turquoise.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the sleeve that came with the silvers. The silver mono came that way, and the silver stereos came that way, except with the reissues. I don't know why, but the reissues, the MONO, silver MONOs,
yeah,
and the silver stereo reissues, and I'm talking of 1254, 1382, GI Blues, Blue Hawaii. Those all came with a standard gray sleeve for some reason, but the new releases like that came with that kind of sleeve.
this is a mono pressing. This is a Rockaway one. The Rockaway plants.
Right.
It's in decent shape. There's a few marks on it, but nothing bad.
Let's see. So you're showing yours.
Oh, we have a question from, let me see, from Graham.
Oh, guess what?
What's up?
Baggie.
Oh, you got the stereo one. Nice.
I got the stereo one in the baggie. I just realized that. And of course, I got the photo that came with it.
I have the photo, but I don't know.
Which is not easy to find nowadays.
No.
At one time, it was pretty easy, but not anymore.
I have it, but I question the authenticity of it because I think I got it from a certain person.
You don't want to mention any names?
Well, I'm sure you know him. But,
probably.
Yeah. But you guys have been collecting for so long. How do you feel when you saw Elvis released on colored vinyl? Did that interest you, or were you only interested in black vinyl? So how do you feel about colored vinyl?
Well, I like colored vinyl until it becomes monotonous or ridiculous. I mean, first of all, RCA didn't do that many colored vinyls. Moody Blue. Then they did that series in 85, was it, where they did the anniversary colored vinyls like Valentine Gift for You, Reconsider Baby, Always on My Mind, and the Christmas album. I'm trying to think if there was any other colors. I don't know, but I mean, those were cool when they came out, when they were RCA, but Johnny B and I did a show where we were talking about, the imports, all the bootlegs that are coming out. And there's like multiple colored vinyl of everything. And it's like, I don't know. I think, just too much of anything is too much. But I did love the original RCA colored vinyls. I like them. I don't necessarily have a preference. Black is great because that's the original. That's the way I remember it. But the coloreds are nice. The RCA ones.
Yeah. And they were good quality ones. The ones in the 80s, they were pretty good quality too. Some of them used to. Okay, see, I think I told you about this guy, Robert. This guy right here. This is Kurt. He said he used to buy from you a lot in the 90s. I just talked to him the other day. This
is the guy you said? His name is Kurt?
Yeah, his name is Kurt.
He used to order CDs via mail order back in the 90s. Wow. Okay. wonder. He got the '50s Masters promo. Okay. Yeah, those were really hot back then. I mean, all of the promo CDs were like, wow, real hot. Now, unfortunately, thanks to eBay, they're a dime a dozen. But
yeah, I remember those used to be really rare, and they just plummeted in price.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like everyone has come out with color vinyl these days. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I still to Kurt, I still do mail orders. So, all you have to do is email me at collectingtheking@gmail.com. And that's collectingtheking, one word, @gmail.com. Hey, too bad we don't have one of those things, Johnny, where you can
type it in
up at the bottom, but I didn't even think about that. But yeah, collecting the king, one word, @gmail.com for more information. If you're looking for more CDs, I have plenty of CDs. I have promos and all kinds of stuff. So
Den for you. Hey, what's this guy? He's always in all of my chats too. Den. He'd probably subscribe to your channel too. Den's a good guy. He has a lot of he has all the FTDs, all the FTD vinyls.
Is Den short for Dennis by chance?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Could be. Oh, Marcus, thank you, sir.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I can't even type it in if I want.
Yeah, there you go. I appreciate that. Yeah, anybody's looking for anything, I got vinyl, CDs, all kinds of stuff. A lot of stuff. And, it's funny because I have a lot of stuff for sale. And it wasn't really until I started doing eBay that people realized, oh, I can buy stuff from this guy. But, eBay, in eBay, it has to be done a certain way. I would prefer to sell directly to people because then I don't have to pay all the fees and all that stuff, because eBay really takes away a lot of money.
They do. Oh my
That's
God.
why it's so hard for me, because some people may even complain or think, well, I don't like the fact that his opening bids are so high, but they kind of have to be, because with the amount of money that eBay takes away, I have to almost kind of play that in. You know what I mean?
You have to. You got to.
If you put something for like $9.99 for sale, you only get like what, $7 out of that, or $6, and you got to go through all that problem of putting it on eBay and going through all the motions and putting the pictures and all that for like $6 or $7. Ain't worth it.
Yeah, you got to grade it.
Yeah.
It just sometimes it's not worth it. I mean, you can only really sell stuff on there that you can make money on. That's what I realized. Because I sell too. Yeah,
common stuff is common, and there's not much you can do about it. I mean, I've been selling a lot of I bought this huge FTD collection, and I'm getting down to the end of it now, but I'm getting to the rarer stuff. And you could tell if you saw my auctions recently, some of the rare CDs, the concert ones, what was that, Destination USA, and a couple things like that, went for a pretty good price. But I knew they were rare, so I kind of saved the best for last. And I've got a few more things left, and then I plan on starting. I've been purchasing records left and right, some rare oddities and stuff, and I'll be putting that stuff on very, very soon.
Nice. Marcus, any new additions, Johnny or Robert? I have a new addition. It's pretty awesome. I have a couple of new additions. I'll just show two of them because I'm shopping constantly all the time too.
I'm trying to remember. I think I picked up something for my collection too that I was pretty happy about. I can't remember.
I was excited when I got this. This is it's a reissue of Blue Hawaii, but it is the tan label.
Oh wow! Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely cool.
Yeah, I found this. I got it for like $12.
Wow!
I got a Keith's record show.
Wow, $12. A lot of people don't realize how rare those things are. I mean, they were in the price guide even way back into the 90s. The tan labels were always higher. They were always valued more. So
I think people forget about that label or something. But I got this Elvis Country, but it's not just a regular Elvis Country. I was excited because this is the last one I needed.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah, the variant of the AB.
Right. So it's side A and
Yeah.
side B.
Yep.
Yep, that's a tough one.
I
And
have
it also came. Elvis Now was like that too,
I have that one.
and back in Memphis, those were the three that came out with the side A, side B variation.
Yeah, and they don't know what plant those came from, right? I don't think they even know really. I think.
Yeah, like Marcus just said, he has the italicized A and B, and that's what you got, right?
Yep, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really awesome because I have the Now and I have the back. I have a couple of the back of Memphis's actually.
Mm-hmm.
If I find it, I just buy it, like because it's just not easy to find. And I just found a AFL Girl Happy sealed. What?
And I have to. I'm going to mention this too because I did a whole show on AFL ones.
Yeah.
And it's funny because after I did that show, people were contacting me, telling me, "Oh, I found the Girl Happy AFL one." Well, oh my God, so many people have found that. Because I remember saying on the show that it was rare, and now I'm starting to go, maybe not, because it's there's a lot more Girl Happy AFL ones out there than I had thought. Show me a harem scarum AFL one, and then I'll.
I have a potluck AFL one. I have one of those.
Now that's rarer than a Girl Happy, without a doubt. The AFL one at potluck is definitely rarer.
I have that.
And of course, it took me to find my roustabout AFL one. I'm going to do this. I did this. I don't know if Mark is still on here, but I think when I was on Mark's show, I showed these at one point, but I don't know if you could see it. But this is my roustabout collection. I don't know who. Somebody was just making fun of me the other day because I was commenting about how they collected, and they were collecting a little bit of everything. And they said, "Yeah, well, what about your roustabout?" This whole section. I don't know if you can see it here, but this whole section is roustabout.
Oh, so wow!
These are all my roustabouts, and they, and I got to the point where I started collecting imports. So there's an import, and I think this is from England. I'm pretty sure. I guess Mal would know that, right? Here's Australia, and we have a viewer from Australia, right?
Yeah,
I guess he would know that. Okay. Yeah. Then here's one from. Where is this from? It's funny. It says import on it, but I didn't put the country. But that's another one. Here's music on vinyl. All right, roustabout.
Nice.
I don't have enough screen to show it. Here is this is just the regular Friday music red vinyl. Okay. This is an oddball. This is a red vinyl too, but this came from that box set. There was a wooden box set where like the albums were red vinyl, and this was in that box set, and I never wanted to buy the whole box set because it was over $100 just to get it. But somebody was selling this separate, so I bought it. And this is just a regular black dog near top. Okay. Yeah. And this is just the 77 reissue. And then here is, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I got so many, I'm confused. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the AFL one. And I believe it's still sealed. So that's pretty cool. The AFL one.
I saw one of those. I should have bought it. I think I saw it on Facebook.
That's hard to get. It really is. Roustabout AFL one's hard. This is the black label dog near top. I got them confused, but this is the dog near top. Then I got of course, the tan, which is really hard to find. And you'll notice that it's in the original cover. And I don't know why, but
I gotta check mine.
It's the original stereo cover. The big question I always wondered is, was there a tan release of it with the block letters? I don't know. And then Orange Flex from 1971. That's the Orange Flex. And, of course, now we get to the interesting ones. This is a 1964 reissue, Monaural, RCA white top, or white letters at the top of the label. And then here is, oh, and here's the biggie. This is the silver stereo. And I showed this on my show once. I opened it all up. But this is the silver stereo. It's not in a baggie. And I wish it was. And then, of course, on the back, I have this cool roustabout. It's a I think they call them, they come with press kits for the movie. Okay. And I just happen to have it, so I threw it in there. So that's it. I'm missing the Orange Rigid.
Yeah, I have a tan label roustabout, and mine has the original cover too.
Yeah, I think they all came that way. I'm pretty sure they did. What was the inner sleeve? The inner sleeve is the black. Okay, so see, now you have the 71 inner sleeve. The inner sleeve that I had was a one with the star.
Oh, okay. Well, that's odd. That's weird.
It is weird.
Huh.
Because that's a 71 sleeve. Isn't that all the cassettes?
Yeah, stereo 8. It's a stereo 8. Set.
Stereo 8, yeah.
And it goes up to looks like it goes up to Aloha. But yeah. It goes up to Aloha. Right here.
Okay.
But yeah, still sometimes I feel like they have extra ones sitting around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I think sometimes it gets wacky with RCA. Maybe they have extra sleeves sitting around at a certain plant or something. But
well, I'm gonna let you take over from it. I gotta step out, be right back.
Okay. See what we got. Oh yeah, we got X Robert that when he gets back. Have you found a rigid roustabout yet? I have a. Oh, wait a minute. That's awesome, Robert. We got a lot of tans down under. TCB 1973. Steve, I got 17 different roustabouts so far. Still have a long way behind my Blue Hawaii 38. Jeez, it's never ending, man. I have a You'll Never Walk Alone Pickwick that doesn't have the rainbow. It's just a plain black label. Is rare. I think it is. We can ask Robert when he gets back. I'm pretty sure it's rare. I recall that being rare. I gotta look at mine, because I never know what I have. But again, I'm glad everybody could stop by today. This turned out to be an awesome live. Glad you all stopped by. So let's see. Now I gotta look at mine. You'll Never Walk Alone. If I can find it. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, somebody wanted to ask. They have a You'll Never Walk Alone Pickwick without the rainbow label. They want to know if that's rare.
Well, Johnny B said it. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I never seen one.
There's not too many of them out there.
Yeah.
There are definitely more than one. I mean, I've seen about maybe 2 or 3. And You'll Never Walk Alone is not the only one. There's a couple other Pickwicks that came without the, the P.
So someone asked, do you don't have a rigid orange yet of roustabout?
No, that's the only one I don't. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I'm missing. As far as the RCA US pressings go.
Steve, I got 17 different roustabouts so far. Still a long way behind my Blue Hawaii 38. Oh my gosh. 38? Jeez.
Wow.
That must be all over the freaking world.
Yep.
I finally got my vinyl cabinet made. Now I have to stain and polyurethane it and then get mine out of the totes. Yeah, you don't want to have them in totes.
Yeah, see, that's what remember, Johnny, I was telling you about. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is an actual radio station display for records that was made, that we had made from a guy that built them for radio stations in Chicago way back when. But yeah, you got to get them out of the boxes. This is really the best way, just like you have them too.
Yeah.
Records need to be stored this way. I guess you could put them in a box, but what fun is that? Then you can't pull them out every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
To show somebody. But I think, I think I have the Orange Flex.
Let me see. I think I'm trying to think of the album I have the most different pressings of. It's either his original Christmas album or Elvis is Back, because I have a lot of Elvis is Back. I'm trying to think. Let me see. Got 1, 2, 3.
Oh, here's another Blue Hawaii in the baggie with stereo.
See, I need an original stereo. I don't think I have an original stereo of.
Well, of course, you want the original stereo, but you also want it with the sticker, the Rockahula Baby. That's what I would like to get, but this one didn't have it.
I have one with the sticker. Yeah, here's mine. I got mine with the sticker, the Blue Hawaii. Got it with the sticker. My mono copy. It's an original copy. Got that. But I think the most 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think the most I have is of Elvis is Back. That's probably the most I have.
How many variations do you have of that?
1, 2.
You wouldn't happen to have the tan of that, would you?
No, I don't have the tan of it though.
Yeah, that's another tough one.
I saw the Rigid Orange recently, but the cover was shot, so I didn't buy it. I also have a beautiful, original Canadian copy, but I have original stereo.
Okay.
Got the original mono. That's the Indianapolis one. Then I had the original Rockaway one. So
here we go. Rockaway, Indianapolis.
Yeah, see, I labeled them with a label maker.
Yeah.
So I have OGR press, for Rockaway.
Yeah.
That's what I do with mine.
Yeah.
A Rockaway press I put the alternate sticker, with the girl next door when I walk in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Got that one. Okay, this is the Monaural.
Wow, you do have a lot of them. They look like they're in great shape.
Yeah, I got lucky with these.
Wow.
The stereo, the repress stereo. I guess the white top you would call it.
Yeah, white top.
Yeah, I got that. And I got the 77. So
not an AFL one though.
No, not an AFL one. I wish. So what would you consider your favorite? I know, Rouse, about your favorite album, but what's your favorite studio album if you had to choose one? If you had to choose.
I guess it would have to be from Elvis in Memphis.
Me too.
Because and mostly because you got to remember when I started liking Elvis. I started liking him in '64. When I watched the '68 comeback on TV when it first aired, I was just blown away by this guy. I only knew him as a movie star. You know, and I heard, okay, well, he was like the devil, and he was trying to lure young women into sex when he was young, and all this. I heard all that stuff in the '50s, and then he was arrested and all that stuff that they portray in the movie. But I never paid attention to it. I just watched the movies. So, I mean, I knew Spin Out, Speedway, everything. I watched them all. When the 68 Comeback came out and he came out and started singing, I'm like, holy cow, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, he was incredible. I was like, so is this the guy that they were, saying was evil and all that stuff back in the day? I mean, wow, he was, he just completely blew me away. And I mean, I know Johnny B said that his first album was NBC Special. That was the first album that I ran to the store to get. I had to get that album. I said, oh my God. And it was that album, of course, is not my favorite album. It was interesting because it was, soundtrack to the TV special. But the album that followed, Within the Ghetto, wow. That was, and that of course is all the American Sound Studio stuff. That I would have to say that was the best to me.
Me too.
I mean, I do like Elvis is Back. Don't get me wrong. I thought all of the stuff Chet Atkins did and everything was great, and it was a great comeback album for him, or continuation of what he was doing before he left. But From Elvis in Memphis is the one I think that's his. How every artist has like a masterpiece, right? The Beatles, you would say Sgt. Pepper. Elton John would be Come Back, Yellow Brick Road, and or whatever. But I would have to say, From Elvis in Memphis is the one that is the big one. It's the one that shows it's his strongest album.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's great.
Yeah, that's my favorite one too. I'm trying to collect a whole bunch of different pressings of it. I have a few, not many, but that's that's the album I probably turn to the most. Mm-hmm. I have the Speaker's Corner one, I got the Mo-Fi one, I got all of them. Mm-hmm. I just love that album. Because it brought him back. That's the album that brought him back,
Mm-hmm.
Just what does it say? Johnny, I was blown away how great your box of 45s were. Oh, thanks. Yeah. It took a lot of years getting all those 45s.
And Michael said he has none with baggies. I'm surprised. I mean, no albums with baggies. They're hard to find that way. There's definitely not easy to come by. I usually find the ones I find that I found like that are usually mixed in like a box of old records. And it's just like the only Elvis album in there. And they're all in baggies and stuff, Connie Francis and, Al Hurt and, Harry Belafonte, and they all have the baggies on them. And then every once in a while you go through and there's an Elvis.
Mm-hmm. My mom bought the 68 special, so it really was my jaw-dropping rock and roll Elvis. So I think that's cool that you can remember watching the 68 special. Like, that's awesome. Because
it was, people just don't know what it was like.
Yeah.
By today's standards, there's nothing that artists haven't done that aren't really big. I don't care what Taylor Swift does. I mean, I'm sorry, it's all been done before. Remember the slogan, Johnny, around the time that you got into Elvis? Remember that slogan they had before there was, before anybody did anything, Elvis did it first?
Yeah, before anyone did anything, Elvis did everything. Yep.
That's it. I mean, he did. I mean, he did everything. I mean, the MTV, remember the MTV, what was it, Unplugged? Remember that whole thing in the 80s or 90s, Unplugged? Elvis did that, except he did it on the NBC TV special with Scotty in the round. Pretty much the same exact thing. As a matter of fact, I think that's probably where the producers got the idea. It was just so unusual that all those people were in the round with people sitting around them, and they called the show Unplugged. But Elvis did it first.
So you remember watching the Aloha special, like that premiering and all that too? Yeah,
I remember that too. I remember that because, first of all, I come from a very poor family. We did not have a color TV. Yeah. We had a black and white TV, and when the special, I had a friend of mine who came from a much well-to-do family. He had a big, color TV set in his living room. And he knew how excited I was about it coming out and everything. And he was not an Elvis fan, but he was a friend of mine. So he said, you know what, why don't you come and watch it at my house? Wow. I couldn't wait to get to his house because I'd never seen, it was a color TV. That was a big deal to me. By today's standards, it's nothing what I watched it on, but it was in color. But I remember watching it the very first time, the Aloha special, and it was like Elvis was still there. He wasn't the same impact as the '68 comeback. To me, that was a whole new thing for me because I'd never seen him performing like that. But this one was Elvis like still on top. He was like, because at that point, a lot of people were making fun of him, saying, oh, well, he's doing live stuff and he's repeating the live stuff like it was the movies. But I think the Aloha special kind of proved that, he still had what it took to perform and do something dynamic. The only complaint I had, and I remember it to this day after I got done watching it, was to me, Elvis was much too organized. He was like restricting himself. He had to do the songs exactly the way he was told to. He did the breaks exactly the way he was told to. You know what I mean? It was almost like somebody directed him in the special, and they probably did. I mean, every TV special has a director. So somebody had to say, okay, Elvis, don't make any fun or don't have jokes or, goof around with the audience like you do in concert. You're being watched by the whole world. So, he knew that. So he knew that he had to be, spot on with his performances. And he was. But to me, after seeing him live in '72 in Chicago, he was stiff. That was the only thing I remember. He was stiff. Because remember, '72, he did that in '73. So only a year later, and he was not as loose as he was in Chicago. And this one, he was more professional. And I guess that's fine. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying that, to me, that was kind of like, awkward. I still loved it.
It was probably like, it was just super structured. Just like, all right, I'm done with this song. I can't, he didn't really interact with the crowd a lot, and all that. It had to be, I guess, structured for this TV special. But I mean, and I'm not knocking Elvis, but the thing about me is, I felt like, that's really, to me, the last time he really looked good, Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
and I felt like and I said this before with other people I talked to. I think I talked about it in Mark's channel. We did a live a few weeks ago. Like, Elvis his voice started to falter a little bit, and he started getting this like quiver in his voice when he sung too. And I don't know, it just wasn't as strong. He still had some good songs and good studio albums, and he sounded good here and there. But that really was like his last great moment, which is really, like, when you think of a big moment, it's horrible to say, but because it's like after '73, people just really forget about everything else.
Yeah,
unless you're a huge fan like we are,
Yeah,
who really like.
I think what's interesting here is he's kind of slipped by here. I can't see him anymore, but somebody, I can't see the name now, but somebody mentioned that their favorite album was the Memphis record.
Oh,
they
like
they like the Memphis record better than From Elvis in Memphis. Well, I got news for you. Basically, that's just an extension of From Elvis in Memphis, because the Memphis album is all of the American Sound studio recordings.
Yeah, I love that.
It's really just like an expanded version of From Elvis in Memphis. So of course you're going to like that. That album is great too.
There was a couple. I know there was just a couple of things different with the mixes. Like, I think I would have to look it up. I have it because I have it like in my music library. But there was a couple of songs that were just a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that record too. It's literally everything he did in '69.
Yeah, it was a great release when they decided to do that. These commemorative series. that Memphis record was like one of the first ones I bought right away, because I knew everything on there was. I didn't know at that time. I don't know if I even knew it was from the the sessions where it was from. I just knew that it was back in Memphis and from Elvis in Memphis together.
Mm-hmm.
It was like all the recordings together in one place.
Yeah.
Plus some additional stuff too. Johnny B says they should have filmed Madison Square Garden. Big mistake. Yep, I agree with that.
I just don't understand
Definitely.
why they didn't. Like, it's like, why didn't they? Like,
I know. What were they thinking? I mean, Madison Square Garden is such a big thing. I mean, look at Billy Joel, what he just did, right? Madison Square Garden is a landmark for Billy Joel. I mean, it's a landmark for just about every artist. I don't know why they didn't film it. Crazy. But then again, they were working on Elvis on tour too, right? So they were filming all those other shows. So maybe they just, said, to hell with it. I don't know.
Oh, it would have been nice because a big venue like that, and they could have probably did like they should have recorded all 3 or 4 shows he did and just put them together. Like, oh man. That actually has like my favorite jumpsuits from those shows. And he looked freaking amazing. He sounded freaking amazing. Like the whole.
Yeah, I saw him in '72 in Chicago, and I've told this story many, many times, but it's like when he walked out on the stage, it was, with all due respects to Jesus Christ, it was like I saw God walk onto the stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like incredible. It was almost like he was glowing when he walked out on stage, and he looked fantastic. And I was lucky because I was in the mezzanine, right, a little off behind him, which when I got the seats, I was a little like disappointed. I thought, oh, I'm going to be doing a scene in the back of him. But you know what? He was respectful. He walked over to us and was singing right up to all the people where I was sitting. And he stood there for a while. It wasn't like he just walked up and waved and walked away, And every once in a while he would turn this way and that way. I mean, I think he really knew his audience back then, especially in the early 70s, that everybody paid all this money and he wanted to be respectful. And so he showed everything to everybody. And then of course, turning up the lights and all that stuff. There aren't any artists nowadays that, pardon my French, but that give a shit about their audiences anymore. I think Elvis really loved the people that loved him, and artists do have respect. I understand that, but for some reason Elvis had this connection with everybody. Like, hey, this is one big party. Here I am. Let's have some fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know about everybody, but it just seems that way.
So when you saw him in '72, was that like right after, not too long after MSG, or what?
I think it was just before it.
Before, okay.
Yeah, just before it, because I remember when the album came out. I remember listening to the album Madison Square Garden, and I'm sitting there listening to this and going, "This is the Chicago show. This is every single thing he did." I mean, it was almost like verbatim. Every single song. Now, I'm sure there might have been one song variation. Steve Orlando would know. But my first reaction back in '72 when I heard the album was, this is the Chicago show, because he did almost everything identical.
Yeah, so is there also a bootleg of it too? Is there a bootleg out there of that show you went to, maybe? Anywhere?
Yes. Yeah, there are. There are some bootlegs out there. I have one, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but I do have one. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Frank Sinatra, Madison Square Garden gig in '72. The main event was huge.
Yep.
It definitely should. Yeah, I remember watching that, but they filmed that, I think, for Frank Sinatra.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis should have performed in London. He would have given him.
Bruce is close.
The buzz again. Yeah.
I like he says Bruce is close. Yeah, I would agree with that. The boss.
Bruce is close. Wait, I don't understand.
The King. Well, King Boss 08. Bruce Springsteen and is the boss, and Elvis the King. King Boss 08 is right. And that's Rick Davis, right? Rick, is that you?
I'm not a fan of
Please verify that is you. King Boss has got to be Rick Davis. we'll
Yeah,
see.
I'm not a fan of Springsteen. I always compare him for some reason and John Mellencamp. I like John Mellencamp a little more. I'm not a fan of Springsteen because they kind of like that. I feel like they're the same style, but Bruce Springsteen's on a bigger level, of course. But I don't know. I'm more of a John Mellencamp guy. It's like with Billy. It's like with Billy Joel and Elton John. I'm a bigger Billy Joel guy.
I think a lot of it has to do with the time frame that you started liking the performer. Like if you were there when the performer hit, like I remember Billy Joel really well. I'm a big Billy Joel fan. I love Billy Joel.
Me too.
And I remember the very first ones. And Rick Boss just said yes. Or I'm sorry, King Boss said, yes, it's Rick. Okay. I hope you're doing good, Rick. I know Rick and I have something in common now. I believe we're a part. Is it Carol? Isn't it part of the Zipper Club?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're both part of the Zipper Club.
Zipper Club.
The Zipper Club. Yes, I would show you my zipper, but you don't want to see it. I didn't know what it was either. After I had my heart surgery, I have a friend of mine who's also a record dealer, Craig Moore, and he had just gone through bypass surgery. And after I got out of the surgery and I was recovering, I got a note from him saying, "Welcome to the Zipper Club." And I'm like, "What?
Oh.
What the hell's the Zipper Club?" And then he, came back and said, "Well, look at your chest carefully, because the scar goes down here, and it looks like a zipper."
True, that's true. This my grandfather. My grandfather had that too.
Yeah.
But my wife is a jazz fan. Hated Bruce. Let's see. Same here, John. I guess he's talking about John Mellencamp. Yeah, John Mellencamp's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Let's see.
And Rick says he's getting better every day. I've been there. I've done it. I know. It's like I told you before. You'll get better. Just hang in there. It gets better. This takes a long time, but it does happen. I never hated Bruce Springsteen. I think, again, like I was saying, I think it's when the fact that if you were around when Bruce was big, like, the Born in the USA album and all that stuff, in his peak, and you were seeing him in concert and stuff, you would probably be a much stronger Bruce Springsteen fan than if you got, involved with him later, and I think that applies to Elvis too. I think that's why I'm so strong an Elvis fan, because I saw him, and I was there when he hit the top of his peak and then of course went down, came back up and all that stuff. And it just makes a difference when you experience it versus just, later on. I mean, all respect to you, Johnny. I know. I mean, you got involved into the 2000s, right? Yeah. But still, you were able to, see some of the magic, thank God, through what was done with him, with the movies and the documentaries and the music and everything. So, but I think there'll always be a special place in every person who ever saw Elvis. You just can't describe the experience. You know what I mean? It's just different. And I'm sure it applies with Springsteen as well.
Yeah.
If you were there when he was at the top, of his game, you just feel different than somebody who later on started listening to Springsteen.
And that's like it is with me with Prince. I feel like that's how it is with Prince and me. When I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh,
Well, I was kind of like that too. I told you when Carol and I saw him in Chicago. Oh my God.
That's
I
awesome.
could not hear for 3 days afterwards. And it's the first time I ever saw a guy take a bath on stage. I kept thinking, oh my God, is he going to do what I think he's going to do? And sure enough, he goes he climbs these stairs and gets into a bathtub.
Yeah.
But no, he was something else. Prince, I have to admit, I am a Prince fan. I followed his career. I was a nightclub DJ, as you know, I've told you this.
Yeah.
And I remember him when he was a scrawny little guy who didn't wear much clothes with a big guitar. and he would sing dirty songs. you know, just I don't know, and I never thought he would go anywhere, but he evolved, and slowly but surely he grew into a really fantastic performer. You know,
Oh yeah.
what? Mm-hmm.
So wait, so how many times did you see Elvis after 72? You saw him how many other times?
2 more. I saw him in 76 and 77. So I saw him all 3 times that he was in Chicago. Well, not all the time. He was here in the 50s too, but I never saw him then. But in 76 and 77. And of course, those shows were not, they were disappointing. It was a hard follow-up to what I had seen. I couldn't repeat the experience because Elvis was not the same, and you could tell that he was, in 72, he enjoyed what he was doing. You could tell he loved it, and he was, having a great time. And by 76 and 77, it turned into strictly a routine. And it was more of him coming out and, he joked with the crowd, but he would use jokes from previous performances.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, whereas I think in the early 70s, he responded more directly to what was happening to him, and things didn't become as routine as they did later on. And of course, 77 was just sad. It was very sad. I never knew he was going to die, but I mean, I saw him 2 months. So it was, but I still loved him. When he did Unchained Melody, it was fantastic. It was, there were just moments. They weren't as great as the whole concert in 72, but he had moments where he was great, and I still kept the faith. I still loved Elvis, and I was still a huge fan, and nothing was going to deter me. I don't care how fat he got. It didn't matter to me. And I don't think it mattered to any of his fans, really. They just accepted it. And that's a true sign of love. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I know that I feel like even after the Baz Luhrmann film, Unchained Melody, his version, it's gotten like a lot more popular, I noticed. I noticed a lot more people know his version of that song.
Oh, yeah.
Especially a lot of younger people. I'm like, because I just remember over the years liking Elvis. I'm like, no one really cares about that version. But after the movie came out, I feel like a lot more people know about Elvis's version of Unchained Melody, which is awesome. But,
and every time I see that, and when I saw that in the theater, it just brought me right to tears.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to admit it. I literally just started crying. It was so heartbreaking, and of course that when they shifted from, Austin Butler to the real Elvis, that's what really hit me hard. It's just very emotional to me. It was real hard to watch.
Oh yeah, it was a great ending. It was a beautiful ending. Like how they did that. They showed some old footage of Elvis in the '60s and all that. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to hopefully the longer cut. Hopefully that'll happen sooner than later.
Or the concert if he gets all that on tour footage.
Yes, or the concert. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hopefully.
I just wonder if he'll do 2 separate movies or them combined together. I mean, I would like to see 2 separate movies, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Or Elvis on Tour Part 2.
Oh, yeah, it's just like with the special edition of That's the Way It Is. That was a great version of the movie, but I did like the performances in the original. You know what I'm saying? Like they had Sweet Caroline in there, and I think I Just Can't Help Believing and all that. There was a lot of good performances in the original that didn't show up. I think almost all of them didn't show up in the special edition.
They used some stuff, but yeah, they did kind of rehash and recut things. I actually saw that in the theater in Memphis, Tennessee during Elvis Week when it premiered.
Yeah,
talking about the special edition, and I was fortunate enough at the end I met the director, the guy that recut it.
Oh,
and
wow.
He was in the bar next to the theater, and I remember going up, shaking his hand, telling him how much I loved it. And it was good, But you know, the original will always have a special place in your heart because it's the first time you ever saw it. But what he did with it was, I think, was amazing. You know, and I think a lot of people saw it. I'm pretty sure Johnny B was with me when we saw it in Memphis, and that's the way it is, special edition. And I'm pretty sure Rick Davis. I don't know if Rick was in town and saw that or not, but anyway, it was great to see it on the big screen, the new cut.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping Baz Luhrmann does the same thing. I'm hoping he gets all that on tour stuff. And I mean, they could make another movie, you know that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because there's so much stuff. They could just do a part 2, you know, or Elvis on tour 2. I don't know.
Or Elvis on, or That's the Way It Is part 3, you know.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I saw that movie when it released in theaters, like in 2014. They put the special edition back in theaters, and I remember seeing on tour in theaters when it I think it was like 2010, and I remember it was actually sold out.
Really?
In my area,
it wasn't like that in Chicago. As a matter of fact, it only played at a drive-in in Chicago.
Well, that's cool though. It's in a drive-in,
and that's where I saw it. I saw it in a drive-in.
Yeah, mine was at a regular theater, but when they re-released on tour in theaters, I remember it was sold out, and I was probably the youngest guy in there at the time. I was like 20, but 21 years old. But
yeah,
it was cool to see. Elvis was perfection in 68, 69, and 70. Yeah, I mean, I always say that's my favorite era of him. I feel like that's him at his peak, like vocally, the way he looked, like everything. He just looked freaking amazing. Let's see.
Yeah, Johnny B is right. It was a 35 millimeter print of the special edition of That's the Way It Is. It was awesome. It really was.
Let me ask you this: do you have a favorite single concert of Elvis? Like, is there one that just stands out that he did, like on a bootleg or something?
Wow, that's so hard. My favorite concert was 72 in Chicago. I'd have to say that. If you're talking about the ones that were filmed, I'm
just in general.
I like the stuff, and That's the Way It Is. Yeah. You know, and I prefer that to Elvis on tour stuff. And I don't know why, because I saw him in 72 and Elvis on tour was filmed in 72. But
yeah,
you know, yeah, I guess the 72 Chicago show is my favorite concert.
I think my favorite is it's from That's the Way It Is, the August 12th midnight show. That show was amazing. The whole show is like flawless. It's the one they used Mystery Train and Tiger Man in the beginning of special edition. It's from that concert. In the beginning of the special edition of That's the Way It Is. That's my favorite concert. My favorite concert is Omaha 74, CD1 of FTD. FTD has a lot of concerts from 74.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really listen to all that stuff. There's tons and tons of concerts.
There is. Johnny B says Elvis made one mistake. He should have sung Viva Las Vegas in 1970.
Yeah, I know. He always says that, but he's right.
I don't know, man.
It makes you wonder why in the world did, I mean, he was like the king of Las Vegas. Why in the world did he not, talk to Joe Gershio and work out like a special arrangement and done a live version of Viva Las Vegas? I just don't understand why maybe it's because it's a movie. I told Johnny B this before. It was a movie, and he didn't want to do any of his movie songs.
No.
He that's one of the reasons he didn't do Return to Sender. He did do Return to Sender in a couple concerts, but he just didn't want to do any of the movie stuff.
I mean, can you blame him? Yeah.
No, I guess not.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it would be kind of gimmicky if he did Viva Las Vegas in Vegas. I mean, it would have been nice to hear like at least once.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice.
Somebody should have screamed it out and begged him.
Viva Las Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am amazed how much fan shot concert footage has surfaced. there really is a lot out there. I mean, they say he was the most photographed and, person ever. But it's crazy because I can see that being true because when you look at these books, like the books that do like day by day, like, of basically every day, there's basically a picture every day of him. It really is amazing.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the Rock Around the Block book from FTD. It has just a picture of him walking from one building to another, like not interacting, just walking. It's just like there was a camera everywhere.
Yeah. Those pictures are turning up all the time.
Yeah. And I just saw a picture the other day that I never saw of Elvis. I have all the pictures I've seen. I'm like, wow, I never seen that.
Yeah. Mal says he wishes the 68 or the 61 concert was filmed. Yeah, that was another missed opportunity. And, those of you who watch my show, I did that one big show on the Al DeVorn itineraries. And Al DeVorn, of course, the guy who said Elvis has left the building. Al was helped orchestrate that concert in 61. And there's just so much information that we found in the paperwork and everything pertaining to that show. And, you wonder why didn't they do it? I mean, he had just got back from the Army. This was but I think the Colonel was more obsessed with the movies. They did that show and for charity, or it was for charity, I think. And I don't know. Definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think it just, with him being obsessed with the movies, with the whole thing with Blue Hawaii, it proved the Colonel's point because he did 2 dramatic roles in between those.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, well, look what we did with this movie. And you put an album with it. It's more successful than your dramatic roles, so let's not do those anymore. Let's just do these, which is a shame because he was so stunted as an actor. Like, there's so many good.
He had great potential as an actor, and being a filmmaker myself, I've directed 10 feature films, and I've worked with actors before, and Elvis definitely had the ability to amplify his characters in the direction that he wanted to. Maybe he didn't study acting, and he didn't know anything about the method acting or anything like that. But he definitely had the raw talent to do it, and he proved it in King Creole and Jailhouse Rock, for that matter. Even in Love Me Tender, which is highly underrated as far as the performance. But look at that guy. I mean, he plays this young kid, and he plays it so well, and he's so torn. He even shoots his own brother. I mean, it's a great performance. It really is, and and it's a shame that. Well, Hal Wallace said, okay, when you get out of the Army, we're going to do, GI Blues. And I'm sure that was just a promotional thing. Let's cash in on the fact that he got out of the Army. So we're going to do a movie about that. I personally don't like the movie, although I like it much better than Double Trouble, I'll tell you. But I like the fact that they tried to go back to where they left off. I mean, King Creole was drama, right? And he was great in it. I like the fact that they tried to go back to drama with Wild in the Country and with Flaming Star. And Flaming Star, folks, that was Don Siegel, the director, Don Siegel. Shall we say Dirty Harry? Shall we say some of the great movies that Don Siegel directed with Clint Eastwood? He was a great action director in his time. And he directed Flaming Star, and I thought Flaming Star was a really good film, but for some reason the audience just weren't buying it. And then Hal Wallace came up with Blue Hawaii, and well, we know what happens then.
Yeah.
But even Follow That Dream and Kid Galahad weren't, they were kind of half serious, half comedy, or half Elvis movie, half drama. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like I just don't know what went wrong there. It's just in some ways, I don't like the fact that Blue Hawaii was such a big hit. Yeah, because it changed everything. If Blue Hawaii hadn't been so big, Elvis may have gone into something else. It's like I told you, a lot of people don't know he he was on track to play Tony Curtis's role in the Desperate Ones with Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, that would have been tough. That would have been amazing.
And that would have been phenomenal. I mean, but it didn't fit into, the trappings of what he had already gotten into at the time. And I don't know what happened. We like to blame the Colonel for everything, and maybe it was the Colonel. I don't know, but it's a shame. It really is.
Yes, I mean, I love Wild in the Country is probably, as far as Elvis movies, that's like in the top 3 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you see his movies from the 50s, all 3 of them were pretty dramatic. All 4 of them were dramatic roles. And it's just crazy how when he came back in the 60s, it's like it almost just stopped. It's like, all right, we're not even going to try. 2 of these were not really that successful. Let's just stop. So just do these formula ones, soundtrack and Boy Gets Girl and whatever. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
I'm going to take this opportunity, Johnny, to show you something. I have my Pride. I told you about this before. Let me see if I can find it. What did I do with it?
Oh my gosh. Is that the one with the purple vinyl?
Yeah, that's the promo. And I don't think there's the stamp. Okay. So if you're ever at a record show, and I mean, I see tons of Purple Rains all the time. If you ever see that on there, I guarantee you it's purple vinyl, because that's the promo. That's the only way you can tell, because I see Purple Rains all the time. And this is my original copy from 84?
Yep.
84. And I was DJing back then, and I was in a record pool, and it has a sticker, not on the shrink, but on the record, on the cover.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Well,
and I don't think it says, let me see if it says promo on there.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. No, this one doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't say promo. But anyway, that's it.
Well, to contact me, you think about getting rid of it.
Yeah, I can't get rid of this. It's just too cool,
Yeah.
It's too cool. But I'll tell you what, Then keep an eye out. If I ever see one.
Yeah, let me know, please.
I will absolutely. Hell, I'll just buy it and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And then finally, 2 other things I thought you might want to see. Remember, we could remember the song?
Which one is that one? Let's Pretend We're Married.
Yeah, with DSMR.
Do I have that one? I may have that one. I would have to look.
And of course, it's with the blank back and everything.
Yeah, the promo ones. Yeah, I have a few of them. I don't know if I have that one. I gotta look now.
I think this does say promo. Yeah, on the label it says promotional copy not for sale.
Let me see.
This is the one we were talking about, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
DSMR was on there, but I guess the main song they were pushing was Let's Pretend We're Married.
Yeah, that's actually one I don't have neither. I don't have that one.
Okay, and then this one you may have, but here's another.
I do have that one. I just saw that one on the shelf. I do have that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one too is also got it on the label, promotional copy, not for sale. But these are originals. I got these when I was DJing, and I just kept them all these years. So they're in beautiful shape. I think usually back then there was a record pool I was involved with, and I would get the guy who ran the pool gave me 2 copies of everything. So I would take 1 copy and put it in my collection. The other copy I would play at the club.
That's awesome.
And of course I got the other regular ones, but I'm sure you have them, Purple Rain and
I got
all of the hits, Kiss and all that.
I got some after I have all the ones that are released in stores. I have a good amount of the promos, but there's early ones I'm missing like that. But I think his earliest B-side, something with a B-side was Where is it? It was the song "Let's Work."
Yeah, I had that at one time too. Is that a promo?
I have the promo of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that one's not easy to find, man. Love it.
I was one of the very few DJs back then who played "Let's Work." It really wasn't a big dance hit. At the club I worked at, it was.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs, early songs of his. Such a good song.
All right, so this gentleman here is I hate to mispronounce his name. Is it Grame?
Oh, you just say Graham. I used to say the same thing.
Graham?
Yeah, Graham.
Okay, I'll just say Graham. And he says, "That's just unbelievable, Robert." And I'm wondering what he's talking about.
I think
I went off into a tangent. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about.
No, I think he's talking about the Prince, because he's a Prince fan too. He's
on
my page a lot.
Okay. All right.
But I have a quick question for you. Do you have like your personal collection of FTDs, like the vinyls?
Yeah, I don't have them all though. As a matter of fact, they're right here. It starts here and ends here. So I don't have them all. But what is cool, I have two of these.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me. Oh my gosh.
So I got two blue Hawaiis.
Jeez.
And I, of course, I have all the rare ones. I have the, Jungle Room sessions and all of them. I don't have to pull them all out, but I've got, there's some I didn't really like. And I'm not a completist when it comes to the FTDs. I just go with the ones I really like. Like one I got rid of early that I kind of sold it too cheap now. But I absolutely hated the cover of Hot August Night. I hated it. It was awful. It's an awful looking cover. It's just terrible. And I remember even going to Roger when it came out. I said, "Roger, what the hell were you thinking when you put this? This is a terrible picture of it." He said, "Well, it's a picture that's inside the CD. I guess it's on the booklet or something.
Yeah,
inside the CD." And I'm like, "Yeah, but to me, that's not a reason." I said, because he always made a big point with me and Johnny B that he wanted to design, like recreate the original covers. Or if it was a record that was never made, he wanted to recreate it as if it had been put out back in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So do you think RCA, I mean, I know the Colonel didn't give a shit about the concert albums because Ed Bonja told me that he would just put that picture on. Ed even said that he used terrible pictures of Elvis on purpose. I don't know why he said that, but it wasn't like the Colonel, came up with that black and white awful picture. It didn't have to happen. And I told Roger, I said, why did you do that? You could have come up. There were so many great pictures of Elvis that you could have used.
Oh yeah, and from that engagement.
I know, and I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, but I got rid of it. And there's others. So I don't have the whole set, and I don't care. I just get the ones that I think are cool. Like even the new Moody Blue.
Oh yeah, so I know I'm about to ask you about that. How do you feel? I think I know already, but how do you feel about them possibly reissuing some of the old ones? I think I said it on my show, and Johnny B said it too. Yeah. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand the marketing of it. It just isn't, it doesn't make any sense to me, because why would you reissue something when you have so much more material ahead of you? We're all waiting, I don't know about you, but I am waiting on edge of my seat for Girl Happy. I want Girl Happy so bad. And I know so many people, when I did my show, said the same thing. We want Girl Happy, Girl Happy. That's got to be the next one. Yeah. It should be the next one. It sold well. It wasn't a poor selling album. Okay, so skip Harem Scarum. I don't care about that, or Double Trouble for that matter. But I mean, when you have all these different options of taking albums and continuing on the road that Roger said he was going down, which was to make new versions with better covers of the originals, why would you decide to reissue something when you've got all this left? Yeah.
Now I know this is a big controversy, and some people say, well, I think it's great because I didn't get it when it first came out. Oh, well, so wait until they get done with the series and then let them reissue everything, and then you can go crazy and get all of them.
Yeah.
I just don't see the logic in that. And I don't mean to be snarky, by the way.
No, I don't know.
Somebody said I was snarky, so.
No, I mean, look, it takes a lot to offend me. It doesn't matter to me. But I just see both sides of the fence. For me, it's like I'm one of those guys that miss out on them, and I wouldn't mind seeing them reissued. But like you said, there's so much more stuff to release. There really is.
There is.
And
I mean, you can reissue stuff down the road. You don't have to do it now. You just don't have to.
Maybe every other release reissue at least. I don't know. And it's just a money grab. They're going to buy them because people are like, well, I missed out on it the first time, so I'm going to buy these, which I'm kind of on that team a little bit. But I do want to see newer releases too myself.
Yeah, and with how long it's taking for them to get this stuff out now.
Yeah.
I mean, remember the original plan. I remember Roger told us the original plan was 4 releases a year. Every 3 months, a new album. And they kept to that for a pretty good amount of time. And then all of a sudden, after Elvis Presley Boulevard, then all of a sudden that got pushed back, and then this one got announced, and now this one gets pushed back again and again.
So many.
There's 6 months. There's 6 months into the year before that one comes out, which means we're missing 1, 2, 3 releases.
Yeah.
Because they should be announcing the 3rd release for the summer and then announcing the one for the fall, like they've been doing in the past years. But that's not what they're doing. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's always constant delays. I don't understand. This is a question from Mal, which I kind of want to know too. Do you know if Roger retired?
Well, that's what me and Johnny B were talking about. Like I said, I met him. You may have seen in pictures on my show with me and him and John. And I think he's older than I am. So he could easily at some point have retired somewhere. He could have. So the only thing I could think of is logically, I think maybe he did retire. And if he did, he handed it over to Ernst. And Ernst is more of the business marketing type guy. And no offense to Ernst at all. I think he's a great guy. But that's what he's into. He was never really, to my knowledge, thrilled about the vinyls. He was more thrilled about the material and getting it out on CD. And that's where that happens. So I hope he's okay. I really do. I hope he's not. I hope nothing's wrong with him. I hope that, because if he's retired or he's gone, you could pretty much expect the FTDs to then go all colored vinyl and all over the place, and the original plan will never be completed.
Yeah, that's a shame. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I decided not to complete the FTD series, but I'm trying to get all the music on vinyl releases. Those releases are really nice. I have a few. I don't have them all, but those music on vinyl sound pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other by any chance?
What's that?
Do you have any music on vinyls by any chance?
I had the Roustabout. I have a few. Yeah, a few of them. Den, I guess Den for You.
Yeah.
He says right, but I think the reason we blew new releases for those who couldn't get the first one. Well, I understand that, and nobody's debating that that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
We're just saying it's too soon. That's all. I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, that's great. But remember, you're not getting the original.
Yeah.
You're getting a new version of the original, which is going to go up in price the same way as the other one. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying they don't need to do this. It's too soon.
Yeah. And I thought it was crazy how basically back to back they came out with from EP Boulevard. Basically back to back twice, the blue and then the black vinyl. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But
Frankie loves Elvis.
Hey, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Frankie loves Elvis. Nice. I don't have a good enough site to order music on vinyl. Yes, I don't know. I feel like after this last one, for LP fans only. I mean, I wonder what the next one's going to be, because I feel like after their I don't know what the term is, because I know when Friday Music did some of Elvis's albums, I guess when their contract is up with the rights to music, I guess.
Yeah.
Now music on vinyls. I wonder how many more they're going to do on music on vinyl. I feel like they're going to do about the same ones.
Well, again, like Johnny B said on the show when we talked about the music on vinyls, it's all going to depend on the contracts with RCA.
Yeah, the contracts. Yeah,
they have to get the rights to release the stuff. Just like with Friday Music, their license ran out. So, but music and vinyl is more of a direct connection to RCA or to Sony. So they have more options. They could go further, but I think they're going to base a lot of their stuff on how the albums originally sold. I don't think you're ever going to see a music on vinyl of Harem Scarum.
No,
I doubt it very much.
I remember seeing a music. I remember they had a music of vinyl though years ago. It was called like At the Movies, the series At the Movies. I don't know if you ever seen it.
I have the Roustabout of that.
Yeah, and there was a clam bake one too.
That's right. They did a clam bake.
Yeah. It's actually not easy to get.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go for a lot of money, but it's not easy to find. You know what it is? Only me, but I've always loved the cover shot. I always love the cover shot of Almost in Love.
I like it too. Almost in Love. Yeah.
Pretty nice cover. Yeah.
It's a little out of focus. You can tell it's like a faraway shot because it's a little grainy, but it's still a good shot of him. It's a nice cover. A lot of the Camden albums are great. It's like I'm like falling in love with the Camdens all over again. I Got Lucky is still probably one of my favorite Elvis Presley album covers ever.
That's a good cover.
And that was I Got Lucky, a bargain album. And of course, how could you not like Let's Be Friends, the cover? Because that's from, Suspicious Minds, the picture sleeve. So.
Oh, yeah, I have a sealed promo copy of that, actually. I found it years ago at an antique store.
Mm-hmm.
It's right here. And you can feel it as rigid. You can feel it through the...
Right. A lot of people don't know that, too, that the first four were rigid.
Yeah, it's embossed. It's hard to see, but it is embossed, too.
I've got one just like it.
Yeah, that's one sealed.
And it's hard to get a promo of that, too. Real hard. I lucked out. I got it from somebody in Indianapolis from the plant. That's how I got it.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember I was with my cousin. It's funny because like everything I buy, I have a story for, And I remember getting this, and my cousin's like, he goes, he would help me find stuff. He goes, I found this. And I looked at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get that. Like I always had good luck with him, but there were 8 Elvis At the Movie series LPs. That's what Johnny B says.
Right. And he would know.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, now, Johnny, now there's a time for a plug for me, okay? Somebody asked, when is your next episode coming our way?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I was just telling you about that before we went on the air. Frankie Loves Elvis wants to know. The next episode is, I'm shooting it this week. I'm bringing back, I think it's going to be an interesting show for many reasons. I'm going to do a whole show about the Elvis in Concert album. And that may not seem like super interesting, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be exploring, number one, I think we'll be exploring the reason why RCA will not release that concert or that album. What is the big issue? I have a lot of personal insight into that from talking to Ernst Jorgensen and some of the people related to Elvis, Sonny West, and whatever. And then I'm bringing on Steve Orlando as my guest, and he has all of the background information about the 2 concerts that were filmed and how they were filmed and what the intention was for the original CBS TV special. So it's a lot of cool stuff we're going to be talking about. So the next, we're going to be filming that this week, and I probably will be ready sometime the week after. But it's going to be all about Elvis in Concert.
Nice. Yeah, it'd be good. Wow, we've been on it for almost 2 hours, Robert. Dang.
Well, you know, I kind of knew that was going to happen because just when we were just talking on the phone, you know,
true.
I think we were on the phone for an hour and a half, you know. So
I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad. I'm talking this guy's ear off. Oh my gosh. But, you know, it was always fun talking on the phone with you too. But I did see how great thou art for $4.95 on eBay.
Oh, look at it! This guy opened up a Camden. It was a Pickwick. Yeah, I know that sucks.
Wait,
that sucks.
Oh, okay. Because
Johnny B almost did too. I think Johnny B found a sealed Camden. I don't know if John's still on here, but I don't know, John. What was that Camden? Was there a Camden or something you bought, or you think about buying, and you were wondering if it was going to be a Pickwick inside? I can't remember, but yeah, it's like it's not just exclusive to one of those albums. I mean, the Christmas album. Somebody bought the Christmas album from me off eBay, and it was sealed, and I didn't know. And they opened it up. They sent me an email afterwards, and they said, "Well, I'm not complaining. I don't want to return it, but I just want to let you know I opened it, and it was a Pickwick."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Wow, I didn't know that." I mean, he still got it for a good price, you know. So I got lucky. That's it. There's Johnny B. Yeah, it was. I got lucky on the Camden label, but it wasn't Camden though, was it, John? I thought you were worried, or we were worried that it was going to be a Pickwick, right? I think that's what it was. And oh, that's right. And he opened it, and it was a Camden, so it was okay. But several of the Camden's covers came with Pickwicks.
They must have like extra covers sitting around, something at a plant.
They had to be. Yeah, they had to be.
Like I said, I think that goes with like the inner sleeves sometimes, and the whole with the regular RCA album covers, how they have that sticker, and then sometimes the sticker doesn't match up with the album itself, like label, which I have a few of them like that. Like,
and sometimes people, you know, you ever see the little number 2 on the back cover? It's a real small 2. Sometimes it was 2 or 1 or 3. To this day, I'm still not sure what those numbers mean, because a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, that means it's a second press. That means it's a first." You know, blah blah blah, and it doesn't apply because the records don't match up to that to prove it to be true. But I noticed that the Pickwick ones have a little 2 at the bottom on the right hand corner of the original Camden cover. So they probably used the last Camden covers that were left over, and I don't know, sent them the Pickwick. How else can you explain it?
Yeah, see, because I have this Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a number 2 in the back. Usually you find it with a number 2. Mm-hmm. Then I have this one. You know, I'm that person. I have like this one with a number 2 on it.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm curious. I'm gonna look and see. Now I'm curious.
I mean, I will tell you that Jerry Osborne and I, on all of the editions of Princelvisjackson that we worked on, we examined every single if and but maybe whatever about those numbers, and we just could not come up with a logical explanation for why the little 2 or little 1 or little 3 or whatever, why those are put on there. I think they're related to the slick. I think it's the amount of times that slick was printed, and that's how they kept track of how many back slicks were printed. And then but that doesn't mean that the front slick is a second pressing or the album is a second pressing. It's just the way they kept track of the slicks on the back. That's the only way I can figure out.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Because the number with the number 2 is a 2S. And this one without the number is like a 5S, 6S. And this one's hand etched. But
yeah, I love those Dynaflex wobbles.
Oh my God, it's so freaking. Yeah. I forgot how like they are. That's funny.
And then we got Elvin. Elvis asking, will there be another edition of Princelvisjackson 9? You know, I really hope there will be. I think we need it. I think we really need it. And with all of the things that have happened lately, all the discoveries on ElvisRecords.com, stuff on Facebook, the collectors, the people I've talked to on my show. I think Princelvisjackson 9 is well overdue. I think now is the perfect time. And I will talk to Jerry Osborne. It's on my to-do list. And I'm going to have a conversation with him and see if there you go.
There you go. So that's the latest one.
Just see if number 9 is going to happen. We've talked about it in the past. And I know that he was kind of standoffish about it for different odds and ends of reasons. Mostly because volume or the number 8 didn't sell as well as he was expecting. But I know the sales have picked up because I've been promoting it on my show like crazy. And you just showed it on yours. So, everybody knows it's out there. So I think it's overdue. And I'm hopefully we're going to be able to see a 9 coming up, hopefully before the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I would like to see another one. That'd be awesome. I want Follow That Dream. Yeah, I do too. Who said that? It was Richard Chambers. I would like to see Follow That Dream too on vinyl.
Oh, an album, an LP of it?
Yeah, like the FTD LP, probably.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting. Be kind of hard with only 5 songs.
Well, this is the way I see it. You do one side with the mono stuff,
and stereo, yeah.
And I can't wait until they get to the point with Elvis. Say drag everything out. I really would love to see everything that's available in mono, like even some of his singles up to like the 70s that came in mono. Like I would love to see all that stuff in mono. It would be cool to see, whether on CD or on vinyl. But that'd be so awesome.
All right, before we go, I got to step out for a minute. I'll come back and then we can say goodbye. All right?
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you got it.
I'll be right back.
Well, everybody, we're about to come to end with this. I appreciate you guys coming through to do this live. Turned out really great. We have 24 people in here, man. That's awesome. Good stuff. They need a price guide on these FTDs as well. That would be good. That'd be nice if somebody came out with those. I have a promo white label Madison Square Garden awesome 2-record set. I wish I had that. I don't have that in my collection. I rented it a few times. Just haven't picked it up. Haven't found it in good enough shape. Thank you, Elvin. It turned out to be a great show. This live. It's awesome. Glad you stopped by.
Okay. I thought my cat had an accident or something upstairs. All of a sudden, there was this crash.
Oh, okay.
And Carol went running upstairs, and I'm like, "Oh no!" So had to go see what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been on here a long time, but you know what? I knew this was going to happen.
I mean, but it's been great, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Is there a rule about this, about how long these things can be, or?
I don't know. I don't know if like it cuts off after a while.
I don't know. I mean, when I was on with Mark, I think ours was almost 2 hours too.
Yeah, I remember. I was in that live chat with you guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Looking forward for the next episode of Collecting the King. Yeah, I do too. If you guys ain't subscribed to his channel, subscribe to his channel. He has a good channel. And like,
I would appreciate that.
And share the Collecting the King show. But on that note, I guess we'll end it here.
I guess we're going to have to wrap it up. Let's see. Any last minute things here? Rick says, there's a great bootleg on the Venus label called Mono Masters.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. I want to wait for something official, though,
And TCB since 73 said, I've done 3 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Holy cow. You've done 3 hours by yourself?
I think the longest I ever went was like 2.5 hours by myself.
I mean, I don't know if I could do 3 hours by myself. I mean, you know, with somebody else. But you know, that's what the great thing about collecting and Elvis is. You know, think of all the great people that you met and how Elvis has brought so many people together. You know, I mean, we've met completely through the YouTube experience and the shows and the channels. You know, I could go on forever. You know, I mean, one of the things I enjoyed about Memphis was after the show was over, going out into the lobby and just sitting around with the other dealers and sometimes with people like Sonny West or DJ Fontana and just shoot the shit, pardon my language, for hours and just sit back, have beers and just talk. And, you know, it's endless.
No, yeah, that's awesome. I do that with a couple of people on here I keep in touch with. It's cool, the people I met on here. But yeah, great show.
Johnny B saying goodbye.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny B. Thanks for coming by.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And the same thing with Juan. Good to see you.
Elvin.
Elvin, good to see you too.
Yeah, he's been here the whole time.
And Dennis. A lot of people, man. How many people altogether do you think?
I think the highest we had was we were almost at 30. The highest.
Really?
Yeah, we were up there.
Wow.
It's starting to come down a little bit. We're at 21, but
that's great.
Yeah, I think they know we're about to sign off. But.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but you know, they can always watch it later, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you guys just rewatch it afterwards. But yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on the channel. I'm glad we did this. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
And we will do it again, right?
Yeah, if you want to, I'm up for it.
And Johnny, now that I understand how this whole thing works, next time we do this, you'll be on my show. I'll have you on my channel.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right.
I look forward, man. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by.
Yep.
I guess we'll see you all in the next one.
All right. Take care, everybody. TCB.
Right. See you later.